So welcome back to the 1 month update of my vision therapy. Now I will just talk about the vivid vision portion of my vision therapy. Otherwise the video would get too long, I think. And actually, just talking about vivid vision is already very interesting because the vivid vision exercises I'm doing, if I do the full regimen, it takes half an hour a day. But actually, to keep my visual load doable in my daily routine, I do 1 day of vivid vision and then 1 day of regular vision therapy, 1 day of vivid vision, 1 day of regular vision therapy. So every day I'm doing about half an hour. And so the vivid vision regimen, it's been mostly the same for 1 month, except for some little changes that were introduced. So also for a while, I've mentioned in the previous video, Krista Gevers, my vision therapist, she put in like the prism measurements every day to see how, like, to tailor the exercises to my eye position of the day, and then also I can see is it a good eye day or a bad eye day, or like how cross-eyed am I today. But after a while we turned that off because I have kind of like an obsessive personality, and then I start focusing on it and it's not really beneficial to the process, I don't think. And then also it can be demoralizing if the numbers are not good or are not good for a couple of days, and yeah, it's just better not to know in this case. So the first, I have my notebook here. Yeah. Yeah, but still most of the exercises have remained the same. So the first exercises I do every day. It's like kind of a ping pong game. There's a ball, you're like standing in front of a grid and you have to use a paddle to hit a ball and then kind of break the pedals, break the bricks. And every time you hit one of the bricks, it disintegrates and disappears. And then first you have a grid with 9 tiles, then a grid with more tiles, smaller tiles, and more balls, and it's coming at you, and you have to hit the ball and hit the tiles. And I think it's good hand-eye exercise, and there's some depth elements, and it goes from big to small, so like from easy to more difficult. It's not super engaging, especially if you're doing it for 1 month, but I think it's a good vision exercise. And so the game itself, it can kind of control which eyes can see what. So I think only my left eye sees the ball, which is my weaker eye, my non-dominant eye. So then you're basing your movements on what your left weaker eye is seeing. So there's probably lots of mechanisms that it's beneficial that I don't really realize. But the great thing is that the game can control what either eye is seeing. Especially the next exercise that's done in vivid vision, called pepper picker. And you're just standing in a greenhouse and you're standing in between plants, and you have to use your controller to pick the fruits that are asked on the shopping list. And I think mainly my left eye, so again the more suppressing weaker eye, is seeing some of the, like most of the fruits, and then you have to base your movements on what your left eye is seeing. And if you're suppressing, you don't see some of the fruits. And it sometimes happens, especially with the darker fruits, like an eggplant, which is kind of purple-black. Then sometimes I'm suppressing, I'm not finding it, and then the timer goes off and then I didn't find it, for example. But then when I sometimes kind of cheat for a moment, then it's there. And so you're becoming you're practicing not suppressing, because usually you're not suppressing in the game. Like somehow naturally this very powerful VR environment makes it so that you're not suppressing and only your left eye is seeing the fruits. So to accomplish the game, usually you're seeing what you have to see, and there's probably an element of speed and accuracy. But so this, sometimes I'm still suppressing and I notice I cannot find the fruit or the vegetable, and then the timer elapses. And then the next one is like kind of a space game. You're like a spaceship. You use your head to target certain targets that you have to shoot, while you have to use your controller to avoid certain obstacles, and you have to use your head to shoot at certain things while you're to point your gun at. So you use your head movements, you use your hands to move your spaceship around, and you have to hit certain targets and shoot certain targets, and you're using your head, your hands, your body, and your vision, of course, and your left hand sees certain things and your right hand sees certain things. Your left eye sees certain things and your right eye sees certain things. So it's also probably very beneficial in ways that I'm not always aware of while playing the game. And then you got more like a what's it called, visual contrast exercise. You see like a certain image, and you have to find the image in a row of 5 images, which is the same image. And in the beginning it's very simple because the images are vastly different, the 5 images, but then after a while it becomes very, very similar. So you see like a rabbit or whatever with certain details, and then you see 5 rabbits in a row, and only one is exactly the same. So you have to kind of see and select the one that's exactly the same. But it's pretty boring, and I don't think there's like an anti-suppression element. But of course it's good for visual capture and visual memory, I think. Like quickly see something, determine is it the same or not, and accurately do it. So yeah, definitely good for visual perception. Then there's Barn Bounce. That's like a little chick that goes onto platforms, kind of like Mario Kart, like a 2-dimensional thing. Well, no, 3-dimensional thing. And there's a version that practices convergence, and then there's a version that practices divergence. And you have to use your controller not to fall off the platforms and keep jumping. And then at some point you're kind of floating and you have to hit an egg accurately. And yeah, one eye sees the environment and one eye sees the chick and an egg or whatever. And yeah, if you're not using your eyes together correctly, you're not going to hit the egg. So that's also, and it gets increasingly more difficult while you're playing the game and you're playing for 3 or 4 minutes. So while you're doing it, it gets increasingly more loaded. But these exercises, I'm playing them and I'm doing them, and I'm sure they're beneficial, because after I stop and I take off the headset, I feel like, yeah, this was a real, like, this was real exercise. I did something. I feel tired. And then there are specific stereo exercises that she put on. In the beginning of the month, there was something like you have to shoot with a gun, like it looks like a fair. Shoot with a gun the targets that are nearest to you, and then the one that's less near, and then the one that's furthest, for example. Or no, you only have to shoot the nearest one, and then you get another setup and another setup for 3 minutes. And so that was the easiest one in the beginning, so shoot. And then in the beginning I was just guessing because I don't have stereo vision, I don't think. And then so if it's in the fair, like in a tent thing, you can kind of move your head like in real life. Like if I don't know how high a step is or what's the nearest or how nearby a glass is, I kind of move my head around. So in this exercise you could do the same thing. Like you could kind of quote unquote cheat to see what's the nearest one. So that was the easiest stereo exercise. But of course I also try to just look at it because I want to improve, right? I want to see if my brain starts picking up the stereo cues. And then another version of this later, we switched to kind of more like, look like a clinical, almost like a clinical test. just little dots on a, so green, like black background, green dots in some kind of box, like in a square, and then on the background of the square there's like a grid, like some kind of pattern moving. I think that makes it easier to spot the stereopsis. I think, but I'm not sure. But looks more like a visual test, not like a game environment. And somehow, so that was already after maybe 20 days, or like after a good chunk of the month passed by, and I already did lots of vision exercise in the Vivid Vision and the vision therapy. So then she increased the difficulty with this exercise, and somehow I was doing quite well at it. I think. Well, I'm not sure. It says my score is 11. So the first day I didn't even understand what I'm doing. So I had 0, and then the next few days I had 11. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but and also there's some noises when you click on to select what you think is the right answer. You get 2 distinct noises or sounds, but I don't know which one is the good one or which one is the bad one. So you're still, it's not like a very clear, it's like not like tutung or something. It's more like beep, and then the other one's poop or something, like something neutral. So you don't really know which one, if you're doing it well or not. But then the score was higher, so I suppose I'm doing it better. And then the last few days, so that the last few days, this theory game was the most interesting, because when I was in the Netherlands in the optometrist office, we tried this bubble game. So you see bubbles in front of you, and you have to pop the bubbles, and you have to pop the one that's nearest to you, then the second one, the third one, fourth one, and sometimes it's only 2 bubbles, sometimes it's 3 up to 6 bubbles. So then it gets harder, and you have to figure out which one is closest and which one is in between, and so on. And so when I do it in the Netherlands, I'm like really just guessing, and I'm sure my score was under 50% or whatever. It was just guessing. I didn't get it. I just didn't get the game. And then now a few days ago, she reactivated this bubbles game, and I didn't really think about it. I didn't really remember at first that I did it in the Netherlands, so I just doing it. And at first I'm like, oh, I'm doing it well, and this is interesting. I can kind of intuitively feel which one is the closest, which one is further away. And then once I started thinking, once I'm like, can you even fail at this? And then started thinking more, and I started maybe making more mistakes. But so after this 1 month, and then doing the bubble game again, I had like an 80% score. And that just started. This bubble game was just reactivated only 3 days ago or something. And then today I did it again, this bubble game. But I think I'm more tired, so I'm having a bad day. Like my Marsden ball was difficult. Several exercises were difficult. And today I'm doing the regular exercises and the Vivid Vision together, because I have some more time and I didn't do it yesterday. So then also somehow this bubble game was more difficult. But still, I was performing better than just guessing. I think my score was like 70% today. And then the other day when I was going really well, I had like 80%, 82% score or something. So definitely better than just guessing. So even today on a bad day, still better than just guessing. So that's very interesting. Like after 1 month, that there's such a evolution. And for this exercise, you cannot really, like you cannot move around your head or something, because if you move your head, the bubbles just move with you. It's not, so you really need to be using stereo vision to figure out, or stereo acuity to figure out which bubble is the nearest and which one is the furthest away, which one is the furthest away, and the ones in the middle, and so on. And then there's a sequence. So, and sometimes I get the nearest one correctly, but then the 2 middle ones I don't get it, and then the last one I get it. So yeah, but I look forward to keep trying this bubble exercise the next few weeks and see what happens. So I think even though it's a very stressful time for me now, I'm losing weight even because of the stress, because we have to move houses and everything is about to change, and I don't like it. I was comfortable here, I was happy, but I will be happy somewhere else as well. But so it's a stressful time, and even though all the stress, I feel I'm still making some progress with the vivid vision and the vision therapy. And it's only been 1 month, so let's see what happens after 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Maybe the virtual reality and the other exercises will really activate some of the stereo sensitivity that my brain might have. So I'm curious, and maybe that will have a positive impact on my eye movements and so on. But so I'm just attentively doing the vision exercises without too many expectations. And now sometimes I'm a little bit stressed, and yeah, some existential episodes pop up again, but I think everything will be fine, and we'll get through it. And I keep doing the vision exercise, and I will keep executing the move and keep executing everything, and take a rest every once in a while. But when you're so stressed, it's even hard to take a rest sometimes. You just wake up against your will. You cannot really sleep properly, and then you're losing weight and so on. So, but it will be fine. But in terms of the vision therapy, I feel there's progress, even under these kind of stressful conditions. So I will keep doing it, and I'm very fortunate that the optometrists are working with me very well. I can contact them, and I don't really have to go to the office. So they're guiding me from afar, and I'm doing my vision therapy consistently, which is important. And I'm very motivated still after all these years. I have a new opportunity with a new optometrist, so I really want to seize this opportunity and see if I can still improve, right? Because I'm soon gonna be 36. So even if, yeah, any gains are welcome and welcome and very, very fortunate. But if I could get some proper stereo vision before age of 40, yeah, that would be great, right? It's never too late. So let's see. So thank you for listening to my update. It's also nice for me to share what I'm doing, because sometimes this process can be a little bit lonely. But fortunately, my wife is also quite interested and very supportive. And thanks to her, we actually went to the Netherlands on this trip. So I'm very happy about this. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. We'll see in a few weeks how it progressed. Thank you. See you.